Bonjour and welcome to the Amazing Race 38 podcast here on RHAP. Bienvenue. My name is Mike Bloom, or should I say the Moulin Blooms today, as I've gotten into the spirit. Rob is no longer here, so I said, yes, I can step up, and I've got the costume to match to join these final four racers as we talk about the penultimate, or I guess I'll say Marie Le Penultimate leg of the race, considering that we are in France. This podcast does promise to finish to completion, unlike the leg of this episode, and we have brought in a star-studded panel to break it all down. First, Jess, how are you doing?
I really don't know, Mike. I honestly don't know right now because
how are you feeling before I turn my camera on is probably the better question.
That's probably a better question, Mike. Yeah, I have few complaints about this leg for what it was, but I can get into it later on.
All right. Well, as I mentioned before, Rob Cesternino not able to join us this week due to scheduling issues. He will be back for the finale. But in his stead, I am so happy to welcome this man in to give his own judgments of the cast, much like the many fun judges we ran into over the course of this leg. Here to give his thoughts about not only this episode, but this season overall. It is the one, the only Chappell.
Mike Bloom, I can't. Okay, why are you wearing this boa? I'm so upset. This is incredible. Yes, I am here. Stop, Mike. Stop it. I'm trying to focus. I am here to finally weigh in on The Amazing Race. It is a show that has eluded my opinion for a very long time. I've never seen this show. Well, maybe I think I've seen 2 episodes prior to seeing this season, and so I have some thoughts. I have a lot of questions probably, and I'm very excited to be here talking about this with 2 experts of The Amazing Race. It's going to be fun.
Well, let's start right there because, Chappell, I don't think you're necessarily alone in that category. I think there are a fair number of people who have sort of been aware of The Amazing Race, right? It's that show that's on after Survivor, but of course, this very specific theme, given your Big Brother fandom and, your place within the community, wanted to check it out. So I guess as your first major near full long season exposure to the show, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think about The Amazing Race as a concept in general now that you've gotten fully exposed to it?
I think the first episode I saw of The Amazing Race, and the show, it's crazy. This show's been on my entire life, and it's alongside the shows that I've been watching my entire life, and somehow just dodging it, left and right, just never watched it. Because I think travel stresses me out. And so it's an intense show for me to watch. The first episode I remember watching was Derek and Claire. Because I was like, they're on Big Brother. I know them. I should watch this. I watched the first episode of that, and I think I saw the moment they crossed the finish line. So I was very happy with that, but I've only watched 1 full episode to that point. In season 37, my good friend Jackie was on, and she was on with her sister Lauren. I believe they were a purple team, and I actually missed that episode too. I was on her way to her watch party down the street from my house, and when I got there,
wait, this has never been brought up as I've never known about this. You had a connection with
I
Jackie
knew.
and Lauren. Oh my god!
Yeah, I was there at the watch party for their premiere and final episode. So I drove over there after Survivor, so I needed the window, the transit time to get there. And by the time I got there, I'm locked in, okay, how are we gonna win this? And everybody just seemed very at peace with what was going on. Whereas I was like, everybody be quiet. I can't hear the episode. Everyone else is there. There's a news camera there. Thinking this is such a big deal. I'm so happy that y'all are going to survive this leg of the race. And then I found out there was a phobia of stairs. It was a whole thing. But I kind of missed that episode too. So yes, now that's episode 2. Now this season, I said, okay, the Big Brother people are here. It doesn't feel as close to me as Jackie does because I love her. And so I was very stressed out watching that. But with like with Derek and Claire, I do know these people. And so I've watched them on TV. I've watched the feeds. I know them a lot. I feel like I really, really know them. So I was going to get invested in this season because a lot of these other people that I really enjoyed on other shows and in real life as well were on here. So this has been such a joy. I'm very surprised that I've been having so much fun watching this. I am stressed out every week, including this week. Because my faves just cannot go home. And look at that. We're in the finale. We did it. So, yeah, I have so many thoughts. But
so we're blaming you for the to be continued cliffhanger?
Yes, absolutely. Because if y'all got married on the same day that that episode aired, I was going to riot. You hear me, Izzy and Paige. I was going to lose my. So, yeah, this is so much better. To be continued. I'll take it every time.
Yeah, Jess, second season in a row that we are doing this. Again, I tried to lay the groundwork for this being at least a possibility. Now that we've done it twice, what do you think about this choice? And do you think it's something the show's going to keep utilizing moving forward?
I think it's pretty transparent, to be honest. I feel like they are trying to manufacture some suspense where there's not a whole lot of suspense. And if there was something really exciting that merited it, I'd feel a little bit better about this. But this doesn't feel like we're leading up to something huge and dramatic that's going to get dropped on us next week. If I felt like there was going to be a surprise, if I felt like I genuinely had no idea what was going to happen, then great. Yeah, hang me on that cliff all day long. But no, this feels like a really big nothing burger. And I think if I feel terrible saying it, but I would like to just close the book on. I feel like it's just going to hurt me more if I have 1% hope that we're not going to lose Izzy and Paige.
Don't do that. I can't.
I mean, it's a little tough. I mean, you never know. Again,
you never know.
Can be one of the greatest variables, but sometimes with these cliffhangers, again, I talked about this last week. This could be an extended version of the Amazing Race classic of, oh my God, we can't get this thing. Commercial break, come back. Oh yeah, we're totally fine with it. Amazing Race editors, don't wee on my leg and tell me it's raining. It's possible that there could be a completely different outcome here.
Jess, maybe it's worth it. It's worth it. We get pissy in the finale. As far as I'm concerned, it's worth it. I don't care if it's for 3 seconds. They're gonna be there when the episode starts. And look, there hasn't been a lot of suspense with who is going to win a lot of the legs of these races every week. I'm sure a lot of people have said it a billion times over. Like, Jag and Jazz are just incredible. I mean, Tucker and his brother were incredible as well, but Jag and Jazz are just, they're a sight to see. But like the boot order, to me, I will watch Izzy and Paige dodge last place for the rest of my life if I have to. Like, this is incredible. I'm so happy that they've made it this far. Same thing with Taylor and Kylan, Joseph and his brother. Like as much as I have invested, the much time I invested in the Big Brother players, I'm so happy that I kind of lost the people that I needed to lose when I needed to lose them. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, this finale, with the exception of one pair, and I don't have a huge issue with them, they're just not my faves. I'm very happy that a lot of the teams made it this far.
Yeah, Chappell, without necessarily broad brushing the previous 10 legs of the race, I'm curious, what has surprised you the most about the season so far? A moment, a team, a storyline?
Oh, man, there's so much. For one, who could have foreseen? I mean, Jag is good on Big Brother. Like, he's good. He's one of the better challenge competitors of all time on Big Brother. But for him and his brother to just, demolished the Amazing Race like this. I mean, you got Phil being like, and this is the first time this has ever happened where somebody survived and you turn and pay me first place. I'm watching it thinking, well, there's no way that's going to happen, right? And then they do it. So I'm very impressed with both of them. I was very shocked that Chelsea and her dad Jack cannot navigate worth a damn. I just not quite sure what happens when they get in the car, how they just forget where they're going. It's just that those things are very surprising to me. I like all the dance challenges. I've known that those exist. I think I've seen Derek and Claire do something similar to that. I think one season they did a piano thing. Maybe that was their season. Who knows? But yeah, that was what won on the race, was they had to play the giant piano to memorize the things they did on the race. Yeah, see, I told you I saw the end of that. And so I like those things, but mostly I really enjoyed the exuberance that they have. Nobody on this race feels like they're being dragged through, like they're upset with each other. They're all supporting each other. It's very loving. Every couple, every single pair just feels like they're very happy to be here. Joseph and his brother, just the excitement they have every time they're on screen is so intoxicating. It's I would never do the Amazing Race, but the amount of fun they're having makes it seem like no, you should actually do this. Now, I'm sure there's every other season will show you that you should not, but this group, they're enjoying this, and I'm enjoying watching them enjoy it.
So teams are touching down in France after the first couple legs of, doing twofers. We are really, really jet setting where we went to Greece, to Italy, now to France. Just from my research, France is the most visited European country in the US Amazing Race. We even went there last season. How are you feeling about that? Do you feel like we're checking in on the City of Love too much?
Well, if we had back-to-back legs in Paris, I might feel like it's a bit much. But honestly, this leg, I was really shocked at how many iconic Parisian experiences they were able to cram into one episode when they've been here so many GD times, It was like, how have we not been to the Moulin Rouge before? Have we not done this challenge before? And putting the Braille challenge, this is also very quintessentially French. And for that reason, it felt like we still had reason to be here. Where, in those, there's a lot of things, and we're going to get into it. There's a really great early Amazing Race Easter egg in this episode that I know Mike was very excited about, that I am very excited about. But in those early years of Amazing Race, when we'd only had a couple of seasons, we hadn't been everywhere yet, and we were constantly thinking like, well, what is the next cool new place they're going to visit? They hadn't double dipped on anything yet. You could still do a lot of these really iconic things, and every time you went somewhere, it felt fresh. How is it we are 38 seasons in, and we can go to Paris, which is the most #basic vacation spot you could ever go to, and we're still going to places that make it feel fresh? Like, that's honestly a testament to how good the race planners are.
All right. Well, the racers better be keeping their feet fresh. As you mentioned, the first task they really do once they land in Paris is a dance task, a mandatory dance task performed by both people. This is a big rarity, Jess. I feel like we usually see it as a roadblock, usually as a detour. In fact, there's been quite a couple of times this season already where we've had dance detours, but I love this. Not only is this a way to squeeze more stuff into the 90 minutes and like a really nice repository for the editors to be like, if we're running low on footage for the 90 minutes, let's just keep showing the teams failing over and over again. But it also, not to say that like you have to be good at dance to be on the Amazing Race, but this was a little bit of a trial by fire, and it gave us a great character moment with someone like Kyland.
I loved this. This was beautiful. Like, I don't know how anybody could not like them after this episode, because it was just like genuinely so charming to see him overcome this sort of dread about dancing. But I think we do have to add this to our list of things you need to do before you go on the Amazing Race. You need to learn how to drive stick ships. You need to read a map. You need to swim. And you need to go take a dance lesson and learn how to perform choreographed steps, because it comes up every single season. And you could have one person on your team that's really good at it, but you both need to have a working knowledge of it. And I know this is an Amazing Race Canada. We're not doing it every other leg, but we're doing it enough that I think by now, if that's not on your list of things that you need to know how to do, I don't know what business you have being on the race.
Chappell, who is your highlight of these can performers? Either the can routines or more so the can't routines with a couple of these pairs.
I was so hyped for all of them. I really was. Like, I'm not joking when I say that it was just a joy to watch. Because I've seen them do dance challenges prior in this season, and it didn't go so well. We saw some breakdowns. We saw a few people who Kat, I'm thinking like Kat and her boyfriend. They had a breakdown. She's like, I'm a professional dancer. I was a cheerleader. I should be able to do this. Here, they all have their moment of okay, we got to figure this out, but they all did it, and I was so excited to see them. I got to give all the credit in the world to Jag and Jazz, because they just they know what works for them. They're like, okay, I got this. I see the steps, but once I hear the music, it'll make more sense. I think.
And to be fair, everyone messed up the first time, because it really does just startle you. There is no proper cue to come in until after you do it the first time. They're like, oh, that's when we're supposed to start.
And that's kind of, it gives you a feel for what you should be aiming for. You know, like the counts are one thing, but like them knowing that they should just like, let's just go ahead and jump to that and then come back, and they killed it on the second try. Then of course, you know, we have to talk about Kylan and Taylor. I've known for a long time that Kylan cannot dance. After the cookout season, they were a beloved alliance. They were making all these TikTok videos, and they're all doing the Beyonce like dances and stuff like that. And Kylan's in the back. They're hiding him back there. You know, they got Chada in the front, holding it down, and Kylan is like hoping that he's getting the step. So I was concerned. I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well. And he does it. And I've just watched him on so many shows now. I watched him on The Challenge. He's one of the people that like, he feels like if he puts his mind to something, if he works toward it, he can do well at things. And I knew that was going to be something he struggled with, and he did it well. Izzy and Paige, just seeing Izzy in the can dress doing the dance moves is so funny to me. Love my sisters. And then of course, you know, Josephine's brother as well. Like everybody had such a good time doing it. So even though it took them like a couple chances, it just seemed like it was very fun. It didn't have the same stress, I think, for it to be the final four that like some of the other dance challenges had it, from my opinion.
I was in stitches, and not just in this corset, but Joseph and Adam's first attempt was legitimately laugh out loud funny, where it was this thing where they immediately biff it, and then they're like, crap, we have about 12 more counts of 8 to just stand here, and they're like, it's like picking up like a greased up football. They're like trying to grab it, even though they know it's going to slip out of their hands. So they're just laughing at each other, and they're like, we could try. No, this is, and they're doing like commentary. They're like, oh, this is awful. Oh, Adam, we're so bad at this. And the judges are just like incredibly confused as to what's going on. I mean, listen, there were many highlights to be had, but like incredibly relatable when you are not only having a car crash come into effect in front of you, but you're the one behind the wheel.
I have a question for you, Mike, on this, because I don't know, maybe you know the answer to this. And if not, we got to ask the racers at some point. So typically on these dance tasks, I don't know if this is editing or if this is really what happens, but a team will come out, they will screw up, and they'll stop down, and they'll go away, and they'll come back and try it again. This one, they made them suffer through the entire thing every single time they went up there. So you had Jag and Jazz do kind of the same thing. They got it wrong, but they still had to like vamp for the entire rest of the routine. And there was no mercy. There was no quitting. Like, is there typically no mercy on these dance tasks and we're just editing around it? Or is this a special case where they had to humiliate themselves every time they got up there for the exact same amount of time?
It could have been, honestly, like, well, we got 90 minutes to fill, so, like, listen, we're going to play this can-can music as much as possible. We can is right. I think that I'm usually more used to seeing what you were mentioning before, where it's like, oh, you got a step wrong. We're all good. Which is, I think, even more mortifying is, like, we're all going to stop down and stare at you for your failure. Like,
it's like
that
in Rock
to me,
Band when they boo you off the stage.
That's exactly what it is. Luckily, no tomatoes to huck at them, like in Amazing Race 10 in Spain. I will say though, in a episode that I feel like had some pretty outstanding NPCs, I loved those judges. You know, they were getting emotionally invested. I loved the random guy. I think his name was Kyle. Like, call him Gene Kelly because he's an American in Paris. Somehow it was a little wild to just have this guy be like, "All right, do it again." It's like, can we not hire like a local French Moulin Rouge expert to do this? But regardless, I was happy he was in the room, because to have them sort of like try on their best Simon Cowell hats and like try to offer some sort of feedback to them was incredibly funny. And they ended up becoming so emotionally invested in the process.
They were so hype. When Joseph and Adam was like finished, like they're like fist pumping, like you did it. Like it like in the Kylan, like people are like giving them an ovation. You know, the can girls were like, stop. There was a moment where I was like, Kylan, are you flirting with the can girls? Because it's not a bad tactic. But you know, I really enjoyed watching all of this. Like I said, the energy around it was good because it didn't feel like they were under the gun, Jess. It didn't feel like if I messed up one little step, you know, or if my kicks weren't high enough, I was going to get penalized. And I feel like earlier in the season, it definitely felt like those dance routines were a lot more stressful.
Yeah, I feel like the criteria was very clear. The instructors were very clear with them about here's what you have to do in order to get the thing right. Where a lot of the dance tasks are just like, oh, you got something wrong. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You just got to go do it again. And this one, it's like, okay, you have to be down on the ground by the time you hit that 8 count. And I thought that was kind of fun, especially because it was overwhelming enough to have to go out there and do it with the music and the massive amounts of skirts. It was a lot.
I will also give a shout out to Kylan and Taylor, not only for getting the steps, but for the seemingly permanently etched smile across their faces, like they were promoting some B-list horror movie. Like they were giving full, obviously, Taylor being from the pageant world, but like full show choir, like keep a smile on your face no matter what's happening around you. And obviously, I think everyone was in their head about getting the steps, especially time after time. But like the fact that they were doing that and still like very eerily yet giddily smiling to the judges while they were doing it was so funny to me.
Yeah, Taylor was legitimately happy to be in Paris, and that is something that is foreign to me. I do not love it there, but this episode of The Amazing Race made Paris seem so appealing. So yeah, I just watching like even her speaking her French throughout, and just like I said, the energy they put into the can, you could just tell everybody was having a really good time.
All right, well, let's get into the roadblock where people are not necessarily going to have a great time. Who thinks they know their type? And it is all about utilizing the Perkins Brailler typewriter. Jess, I was Chappell, yes.
I have a question.
Please.
Do they normally go to one monument to read that they have to go to another thing to do the roadblock? Because that felt like we're just taking a tour around Paris at this point.
Yeah,
like they went to Notre Dame for what reason? Yeah, like they went all the way to Notre Dame to be like, okay, now you're at a roadblock and you have to go over to this other thing. I was like, oh, well, what did we come to Notre Dame for? What was the point?
Yeah, I would have liked to have something in front of Notre Dame, maybe just because it is such a monument, and obviously there's a bit of a recent history affiliated with it that you didn't want to have too many like gawkers of Big Brother players and their respective fans around such a prominent location. But yeah, we do sometimes sort of get the like, hang out here for 30 seconds, rip it, read it, and then go to the actual place where you get shit done.
Yeah. I got to talk a little bit about the establishing shots they were using throughout this episode, because you had a lot of scenes of like, show the cab, cut to Saint-Chappelle, cut to, your chapel, cut to Notre Dame, cut to the Bastille, and it's like, you're not actually going past these things because that makes no logical sense. And anybody that has ever been to Paris knows these things, like Sacré-Cœur is not right there. Right. You're not like going in this straight line past all of these things. Oh, look, there's a Champs-Élysées. There's Sacré-Cœur 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
Should they have done like even more stereotypical French stuff? Like, oh, here's a baguette.
Well, they had that lady with the beret and the basket of flowers. That was pretty egregious. The little random stops, I like those because you do get another like picture of what it looks like. And then I got to talk about this task because this task was evil. This was so hard.
I was today years old when I learned that there's a very unique typewriter for Braille. I would have just assumed it would be like a typewriter that we're ordinarily used to doing, just with the Braille assigned to each letter. But no, you have to keep literal numbers in your head as you're writing letters, it seems.
And these racers, they're kind of young, so some of them probably have not really used a regular typewriter to this point, and so to use a Braille typewriter is probably very difficult. And then we see how difficult it is, where slow and steady definitely wins the race here. You do not want to go about halfway through and then screw up. I think Izzy realizes very quickly, like, hey, if once I screw up, I might as well just stop right now, because there's no backspacing. You can't, you made the error.
It's like doing the dance, right? You're like, oh nope, I'm too off track. I might as well just. I mean, but in this case, though, you can start over, even though you have to ask the nice, elderly, narcoleptic man to go get your paper out of the typewriter.
It is not his fault. There's no way that man could have like foreseen that these people would take so long to type like what is that? Was that the Statue of Liberty poem?
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty poem. Yeah.
Counterpoint: yes, he could have if he'd ever watched Amazing Race.
These people. Saying this man is a casual?
Yeah. Okay. These people were clearly had no idea what they were getting into, because we know people can be at tasks for up to like 8 hours sometimes. And the fact that there was one guy there, and Jazz had been there for like all of 30 minutes at this point, and they're like, oh, wow, this is taking forever. Let's go get a coffee. I'm like, you have no idea what's about to happen to you.
Yeah. Like that was the first one.
Yeah, that's the first
that.
guy, and he's really fast.
Who would have thought it ended up being some coincidental marketing, considering that we just had Zootopia 2 come out, and here is the sloth live and in person, just hunting and pecking away on the 6-key keyboard.
It's a hard task to watch because it's like, it's so slow. You know that these people probably have used this machine before. They're probably like, this takes seconds. And he's like, no, this is going to take 30 minutes for Jag and Jazz, who are the fastest people that I've ever seen do anything in any situation, honestly, in every situation. And then it's like, well, imagine how that feels when you key in other people like Izzy and, like when you just see people struggle with it. It's really tough. Like, I know those people did not expect to be there for like 3 hours, but here we are.
I believe actually Izzy has revealed that the one thing she really screwed up on with the typewriting task was that she believed that it did say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty, and then Cher Horowitz had to remind her it does not. But seriously, I mean, I really felt for Izzy in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about this a few times. You mentioned Kat even beforehand, like the very palpable emotion that eventually becomes expressive of like, I am single-handedly screwing this up for us all. And she already, I think, kind of felt it with the dance. And I think Paige had a really incredible moment with her during the Moulin Rouge where she's like, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Like if you weren't feeling this way, it means you don't care about the fact that we are here right now in the Final Four. But it didn't make it any easier when Izzy kept bringing her paper up every time and just was waiting for her to cap that red pen, and it never did.
Yeah, but can we talk about how Paige is partner goals?
Perfect. Perfect lady. This perfect. Perfection.
I love her. She's an absolute delight. And of course, Izzy and Paige are people that we've gotten to know a little bit, like before they were even on The Amazing Race.
Literally days before they were on.
Literally days before, yes. And I got to talk to Paige quite a bit that night, and she was just such a lovely human. And you can really tell that the two of them are so in love and supporting each other exactly the way that you would want an Amazing Race partner to support you.
Yeah.
They're asking her what she needs in any given moment, and then saying, like, it doesn't matter whether you do great or do badly. It doesn't matter to our relationship. It was just lovely.
And that is a perfect segue to, of course, congratulate Izzy and Paige, because yesterday, December 3rd, not sure if it happened on the day or they just announced it, they are officially wed after coming into the race engaged. Unfortunately, that will not mean a pit stop mat engagement nor a pit stop wedding, which we have yet to have as of this moment in Amazing Race history. But Chappell, as the #1 Pizzy stan, which is saying a lot. What was your reaction to finding out about their nuptials yesterday?
Oh man, I was so nervous. So me and Mari, we text every week because we're like, okay, we got to get through this Izzy Paige thing because like we're stressed. I'm like, I know them too well. Like in my mind, I know them and I need them to win. And so every week I'm coming in like, okay, they're gonna make it. There's gonna be fine. And then they like, oh yeah, we got married today. And I think Mari was like, you don't think that they got married today because this is the day the episode is going to air where they're eliminated. And I was just like, I can't allow myself to think that. Like, I just can't even go there. And then I missed the end of the episode on my first watch. I had to, I got distracted. There was a thing that happened and I had to go. So then I like get on the internet. I'm like, what happened? And all I see is to be continued. I was like, thank you, God. Like, it's just, I couldn't deal with it on the same day. I don't know. So I don't know if they thought that this was the episode they were going to get eliminated like on. I don't know if they tell them that kind of thing. But they have to know like that, like the finale is next week. So obviously like if they don't win or something like that, maybe this might be their last episode. I didn't know. So I was like, okay, hopefully they didn't try to do that on purpose. But even if they did, their plan was foiled, Pizzy. You're stuck with us for another week. So congratulations on your marriage because I am so excited for them. I'm so happy. And I'm still keeping hope alive that they are going to win this race.
I would love it. You'd love to see it.
I need it.
Yeah. And it would be, I think, in their character to like plan this big fake out of like, well, actually, maybe not, because I don't know if you saw the photos, but they do look incredibly glamorous and not at all edited. But, maybe they were like, okay, we're going to say that we sort of, dropped in and did it, in this very low key fashion, but actually we are having an actual wedding with lavish, I don't know, crystal swans and golden chandeliers that spurt caviar from them. That's what we're truly spending the money on. Though that would be kind of sad considering that they also spent the episode being like, we're going to support our older parents. To blow it all on that would be maybe a little tone deaf.
I want to go back to what you said about the Matt wedding, because this intrigues me. Your ideas intrigue me. I wish to subscribe to your newsletter. Phil is a registered wedding officiant. He's officiated weddings before. This almost makes me want to get divorced so I can get married on the Amazing Race mat.
All right, nobody out of context account, please.
Yeah,
protect our peace. Don't, let's protect Jess's marriage. That would be pretty incredible. Like, they do have some downtime, obviously. Like, hopefully it's not on a keep on racing leg. So, like, would all the teams be invited? I guess that's the other question is, like, would you want the other teams to be invited? Would you prefer to be a bit more pick and choosy? I mean, it would actually be very on brand for fellow reality TV contestants like Big Brother, because essentially you also get your own televised wedding special without needing to worry about any of the costs attached to that.
I can see where Izzy would not want to do this because she'd have to invite Jag and Jazz and it would be a whole thing.
I guess that's the other question too, is like, would you feel bad not inviting the eliminated teams? Like, do you have to have it on leg 1, or like, do you have to have it on the final leg?
The final leg, yeah. You have to
and
make
it. What happens if you come in 3rd place? Do you really want to follow up that bitter loss with that?
You cannot do a Matt wedding at the final leg of the race if you were eliminated before the final leg of the race. Like, you can only do it if you win, because you can't take that moment from the winner.
God. I mean, that's the equivalent of like proposing at someone else's wedding, right? It's like,
really,
congratulations, so happy you won $1 million. If you will just indulge me for a few moments, I'd like to have a wedding happen right here, right now.
Well, I mean, this makes me want to ask Will and James, like, would they have gotten engaged if they hadn't won? But I feel like, you're the 3rd place team is always the last thing that happens in any given Amazing Race season. Like, why not go out with a bang? And you could end it on the confessional of like, I may not have won the $1 million, but I feel like I'm a winner in life.
The real winner here.
They do say that a surprise wedding is the ultimate U-turn.
Do they say that, Mike?
That's what they say now. Classic Amazing Race phrase. Well, let's bring in a modern, I guess, Amazing Race classic, though I'm putting that in as lowercase letters as I can, maybe even Braille, because we got a scramble, but Jess, this was a weak-ass scramble.
This was weak sauce.
So let's explain what a scramble is.
Yes,
ordinarily, please. This was introduced during the Derek and Claire season initially. It actually was the very first leg that they did on the race. A scramble is usually, hey, you have to complete these 3 tasks around the city. You can do them in any order, and you will get sort of clues to your next location. And it's something that's been but
complete tasks, Mike.
Yes.
You have to complete tasks. You have to do things.
And therein lies the issue, the raison d'etre, because they didn't do anything. They went to go see the Statue of Liberty thrice, and that was it. The most difficulty any of them faced was when Joseph and Adam had a brain fart and didn't realize Amelie with Fresh Baked Bread had a clue for them. That was the limit of any sort of obstacles that these teams faced. It was incredibly disappointing because these scrambles are usually thrown in the final legs, in the penultimate legs to shake things up. I do like at least it as a concept because like that means that the 4th place team doesn't know where they are. We see Izzy and Paige be like, hey, Kylan and Taylor are here. That means Joseph and Adam might be out there somewhere. And it includes more strategy as to like where you pick to go. But at the same time, Chappell, if you did not like the brief stop in Notre Dame, I'm sure you abhorred our 3 stops at the Statue of Liberty.
Well, I just didn't understand what we were doing. It's like, okay, you do a little sightseeing and then come back when they normally have to do something. Like you said, to me, I feel like this is more impactful, even if they have to drive themselves, because it just felt like they were like, follow that car. And then that was it. They just sit there like, oh, I don't know if we're going to make it. Like, no, I think you have to like like because the traffic is bad and stuff like that. Like, to me, it just felt like there wasn't enough of their own activity in there. It's like we got the map, follow it. Like I don't know. It didn't really hit. The suspense is literally. Are Izzy and Paige gonna make it? Like that is all I'm getting from here. And I don't know if they do these scrambles and they always end the 2-week continue, but I think that if you're gonna do one, this is why you do it, right? It's because we don't know where these people are in relationship to each other. It could be anybody at this point. I think there was only like a couple minutes, maybe it seemed, between when Joseph and Adam were done before Izzy and Paige took off, and so there is some suspense of like who can get there the fastest. But yes, as far as like a task goes, like I think I can do this. And if I say I can do it, then it's easy. It's way too easy.
Not only that, they didn't even really have to find things. They could take cabs. Like at least make them find the thing.
Make them drive. Yeah. At least make them navigate. They just got in a cab and was like, do you know where this place is? Take me there. And I mean, that's fine. It seems like a big part of the Amazing Race, but it wasn't the most entertaining TV.
Let's brainstorm a little bit. We've got 3 very, very talented minds amongst us. I think that maybe we could try to come up with something to do. My thought would be, we have the poem already being typed out at the roadblock. What if you had to like memorize the poem and speak it in 3 parts in 3 different parts of the city? And like, if you messed up, you had to like go do something else and then come back.
Or make it one of the stops. You have to memorize the poem.
Like,
then you have to do a different thing and a different thing, because I feel like that's part of the thing of the scramble, is each stop is a different type of task. So you have to complete all these different types of tasks, and one of them might take you a long time because it's something you're bad at, and then you don't know what place you're in. That's the whole point. But get in a cab and go to a place and go to another place, not a task. It's not a task.
Even if the puzzle wasn't just 3 pieces, if you were going to get pieces from all over and then you had to do like a jigsaw puzzle, maybe put together the Statue of Liberty puzzle, or something like that, it was like, okay, cool. Or even your next stop, like whatever. If it's the Arc de Triomphe, then maybe you have to put the puzzle together. But like for it to be 3 pieces, it's like there wasn't even any brain cells that went into that. It was like, okay, I guess they just assembled like this. It's like a little toy. It didn't even feel like a real puzzle. So I don't know. I feel like they could have just done anything. Literally anything, and it would have been a little bit harder and more entertaining than this.
Someone in the props department got a 3D printer. That's what I got from that.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've only seen the scramble a handful of times at this point, and of course, every situation is going to be different. But Jess, do you feel like with the number of times we've seen it, there is a hard and fast strategy in terms of like what you hit where? You have Jag and Jazz, for example, decide to go like the furthest away and work in a straight line. You have others assigned to go to the location closest to them. Is there sort of a hard and fast rule in your opinion?
I don't think there can be, because you don't know where you're going after that.
Right.
Like I think Jag and Jazz getting the idea very early on that they knew where they were going at the end, that could inform what they were doing. But generally speaking, you don't know. So you can't really plan that out. I think going in some kind of straight line makes a lot of sense, but I don't think you can necessarily say that the nearest one is the best or the furthest one is the best. I think you just kind of have to make a wild guess.
All right. Well, let's get into our final 4 teams, because Chappell, I want to hear your thoughts on each one of them segmented out. Now, we've had 2 teams check into the pit stop. The other 2 have been left in purgatory, not mergatory, but we'll go through the order that we kind of saw them in leaving the roadblock, at least. And of course, we have to start, as we are wont to do now for the 6th time, with Jag and Jazz. Chappell, give me your thoughts on these 2 and how they've been doing going into the finale.
I was not the biggest fan of Jag going into this season, because I did watch a season of Big Brother and I was not loving it. And like not the Jag show was just not for me. But Jag and Jazz, the energy that they've had for this kind of show is just, I don't know, like I said, they make it look fun. They make it look easy. They clearly have a cool bond as brothers. They have a good energy about the way they're approaching the task. Like we don't see any fighting or anything like that. Like you can just tell it's so supportive. So it's like, even if you're not rooting for them, like I still want to see them do well. Like I didn't want to see them fumble at the can. I just don't want them to be pissy. So this has been a fun watch. I feel like I've gotten a new appreciation for Jag, and like I love Jazz. So this is fun. And I have to ask, like, for me, watching them has been amazing. Like not to, say the Amazing Race, but like watching them has been incredible. How do they stack up in like the history of like the like dominant competitors? Because I like Jag, as far as like Big Brother, he's like almost like one of the best all time.
I mean, they're really good. They are really, really good at racing. And it's like, I am so torn because I don't like it when a team is really, really good at everything. But also, if they win, I can't deny that, I can't say it would be unsatisfying because they have been so solid. They clearly did their homework. They are optimal strategists. They're good at everything. And they have a great relationship. So I couldn't say that if they win next week, I can't be like, they won, it sucks. And I genuinely like them. I think they've been really good television as well, because nothing's worse than when you have a team that's like good at everything and is winning all the time, and they're bringing nothing to the television table.
Yeah, I mean, to talk a little bit about, the history books of The Amazing Race. So Jess and Jag have won their 6th leg. Right now, that ties Ricky and Cesar, I believe, who also won 6 legs, including the final leg. So if Jess and Jag win the 7th leg, I believe that will be the first time a team has won 7 legs since probably the green team in season 27. Jess, they will have won more than half the legs of the season. I'm not sure what their average is, because they did have like a 5th place finish early on, but it's got to be up there. It's first, second, 5th, third, second, and then first. I mean, it's a conversation I think we're going to have next week. I think even without the placement, they do need to be talked about as like one of the most perfect Amazing Race teams we have seen, because even if they do not win, there is very little that they have done wrong or even struggled with. They have done probably close to 50 tasks at this point across 11 legs, and they've had pause at 3 of them, 4 of them. That's a remarkable percentage.
It's a good run.
Yeah. I'm so impressed. I am so impressed. I wasn't as impressed with Jag's running Big Brother. Like he won a bunch of competitions, but the field wasn't as strong. I feel like here, like this could have been anybody's game, and there was just so many things that they could have been bad at, and they were good at basically everything. They have so much Expedia and like so many damn trips. They're never going to be able to go on them all. Like it's so fun to watch them get to this point. And so this has been very fun. I just would love to see what it would look like if they were up against like some of the more like the other like all-star Amazing Racers. Like if you're doing an all-star season, you're bringing back like the best of the best, you got to have Jag and Jazz there now.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Expedia. Jess, people wonder who will be the first competitor to complete the CBS Triple Crown. Last I heard, Jag was going to Fiji.
I don't think he's going to Fiji to be on Survivor, though. You've been to Fiji, Mike. Doesn't mean you've played Survivor.
Well, actually, let me correct myself. As Phil would say it, it was Fiji.
Yeah, what was that?
I'm not entirely sure. I was a smidge confused, and then it had me questioning myself, because who am I to question, the great Phil Kogan, to be like, have I been saying it wrong this entire time? Is this an American thing? But I don't know what had a little pep in Phil's step to really emphasize that second syllable.
I need to talk about Phil's "if you think you have what it takes to be on The Amazing Race."
Can we please? Yes.
I literally, when he said, "if you think you can kick it," I was like, Jesus Christ, Phil.
Come on.
I literally spoke to the television.
It was right there. Now, maybe it was like, we got to get out there quick. So like, Phil, you better get in one. And they're like, you won too many cans? It's fine. Close enough. But I would say can the can and just stick with the can if you catch my drift. All right. Well, we're not putting a can on our thoughts on this next team. In fact, Chappell, you mentioned them before, but I gotta hear everything you have to say about Kyland and Taylor.
This pair here, I haven't talked about Taylor enough. So my Big Brother journey with Taylor is just like everybody else's. She was in the trenches from day one, and you were just like, you cannot watch that season without just like parasocially just latching onto her as a character, as a hero. You just want the best for her so low. That was just the longest summer of my damn life. It really was. Like I was ready to I had bought a grappling hook from Home Depot. I was ready to jump that wall and get her out of there. Like there was just several times where I was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So to see her come back and play a game where she actually has a chance to just do well on her own without some of those other social interactions that really bogged her down, and Big Brother, it was so refreshing. Now she's stuck with Colin. And I don't mean like that as a listen. I'm not saying that as a slight to Kyla. I'm just saying like we know this couple is not really. I don't think they're a couple today. So this is like a very interesting dynamic, right? It's like a couple that's kind of on the fringes of coupledom. But they talk about how they like are figuring out their friendship a lot more in this, and they seem like they're doing really well and working together at different points. So I'm so happy. Again, if it's not Pizzy, I'm here for Taylor every time. Like I'm way too invested based on the Big Brother stuff. Kylan has been the shocker for me because I knew that he was good at challenges. But I was wondering how he would do kind of like in like the pairs format where him and Taylor, who are both very strong individuals with their own opinions and their own thoughts and the way they want to do stuff, how they would work together. And although there have been some hiccups, they have pushed through. They have really pushed through. And I'm very proud of them. I'm so happy to see this couple make it this far.
Yeah, Jess, a little bit of a reveal into their relationship. I don't think we knew this story beat that, as Chappell mentioned, they finished the leg being like, we knew we were in love, but the friendship had sort of fizzled out. I'm intrigued to, talk with them next week as to how they were able to rediscover that on the race. I feel like it's almost the exact opposite, right? You usually get the like, hey, we're friends and we need to find that spark once more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the two of them are they're so likable within and without their relationship that sometimes you have a couple that goes on The Amazing Race and they're not together anymore by the time you're watching The Amazing Race, and you're like, yeah, that tracks. But these two, I think even if they're not together anymore, you feel like they still like each other a lot. Like there's no ill will there. And I really have enjoyed, like, if they just went on as friends, I'd be happy with that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're two genuinely nice people. It seems like I've watched Kylan on multiple shows at this point, and like I just can't think of like a mean thing that he has done. Like I just think like if you want to root for somebody, well, yeah,
there's that one thing.
There's that one thing. Yeah, there's that one thing. But even then, I think like like I think when you step back away from it, it's like, oh, no, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I just think that like to me, it's fun watching them because even though they had their bumps, I think a lot of the couples did not. So it gave you a little bit extra layer to their relationship, right? Where it wasn't always super like positive and supportive. There were definitely moments where you got a little drama, and I appreciated it from both of them. So if they win, I think these are two very fitting winners.
And I think it was a really nice dynamic to see them at the dancing task as well, because I think Kylan himself would say that his personality or his I would say character in the relationship was a very steeled type. I do feel like we saw a couple times, and I think Taylor herself would admit this, that like she was the one that would maybe get a little more flustered, frustrated, and he would be the one to sort of be that calming force, maybe not with the softest hand, but like try to sort of center the team and be able to move forward. But now it was the exact opposite. We even saw this at the end of last episode when he's like, I don't know why I'm freaking out right now. Maybe it's because he was anticipating getting to do this dance task, but like this was very clear he was embracing a waking nightmare. And I think it really helped that he had her by his side, not only someone who was very confident in dance, I think was able to like talk with him on his level, to be able to communicate to him like how he would be able to memorize it, but to be able to make him feel seen and comfortable enough into that moment where like, you felt it when he actually nearly burst into tears when they got the dance task, because for someone who is as preparation oriented as Kylan, like I would imagine that he has been dreading this, right? He's like, the one thing I can't do is dance. We saw this happen in the challenge where he's like, I'm good at everything except swimming. And what happened there? I think he was looking at a challenge final-esque situation right now. And the fact that he was able to prevail and make it through the deep end was not only a great, reflection of his own journey, but able to show Taylor support in that moment as well.
Rhythm is something that's really hard to learn. Some people go their whole life not being able to dance, and they never stop dancing. They just dance, but poorly, and
it's so like nobody's watching.
Yeah, or like when people are watching, they can't change. They can't dance any other way. Like this is the only way they can dance is this. And so I thought him stepping up was very endearing and having his moment. And right now, if I had to rank the cookout, Kylan's at the top.
Oh wow! Okay,
for me.
All right, let's get into. I wanted to get into some Pizzy here. I know technically they're in last week, but we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know that.
Right now, it's all in the fate of the cab drivers. But Chappell, you have extolled the virtues of all things pissing, not only on this podcast, but through Blue Sky over the past few months. Anything else you want to say about the two of them now that we have the space reserved?
I love them so much. Okay, I wish I could teach them how to dress. They don't dress as good as I do. That's the number one. They don't have this. Like I've been trying. I buy clothes. I'm like, Izzy, try this. She doesn't try it. But no, like I love them so much. I love the support when Izzy is like kind of floundering a little bit in the Braille challenge. The way that Paige talks to her immediately afterward, Izzy is like crying, like through tears, like she wants to have the moment of like almost like just a moment of like feeling bad for herself. Like I feel bad. I'm the reason why we're in last place. And Paige is like, what do you need? Also, get it together. We have to go. Like it's going to be okay, but we have to go. Like it's still a race, And so it's very supportive, but it's not dismissive. And so it's fun to watch them kind of treat each other like that throughout. Izzy has a competitive spirit that's fun to watch on TV. It's why we loved her on Big Brother. So the stuff, the back and forth with her and Jag and Jazz and stuff like that. That's why we put Izzy on television. That's what we want from her. We don't want the straight laced kind of like just nice to everybody kind of attitude. We like a little edge, and we get that from Izzy, and we get the amazing balance from Paige. I love them so much, and I'm so proud. That's all I can say.
Jess, they're doing freelancers proud.
I love it. It's a testament to the spirit of those of us in the gig economy.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Chappell, I need your thoughts on the brothers Abden. Joseph and Adam, maybe one of the least chaotic legs Joseph and Adam have run so far, even though they did have their own version of a car crash happening with the can-can dance. It seems like they've been able to maintain a nice speed. Love the detail from Joseph about the connection with their mother and, how he felt certainly emotionally anchored to making sure that he got through that, not only in one try, but in a way that was able to honor her. But give me your thoughts on what you think about the two of them over the course of the season.
You could watch Big Brother and think that you couldn't like Joseph anymore. And then you meet Joseph and Adam together on The Amazing Race. And you're like, oh, okay. Like it makes sense. There's some good DNA in this pair, like it's just like they're just good people. They have good energy. It's vibrant. It's fun. It's supportive. It's like again, I'm rooting against them. I would love a Pizzy win here. I would love a Taylor and Colin win here. Like I love Joseph and Adam too. They're fun, but I'm rooting against them, and it's hard. It makes it very difficult to want them to do poorly. The episode with the non-elimination, where it's like it could have been them. Like that's not a thing we were willing to let happen. Like it's really hard when you want multiple teams to win. And I think with these 4 teams, when you have people like Joseph and Adam in the mix, it's like, what could you really say negative about them? Like, I think I don't even think anybody would ever be as happy as they were to win the Amazing Race. I think everybody would love it, but Joseph and Adam would just jump out of their skin with the way they would win this and the way how much it felt, how much it meant to them with their own personal struggles, with all the things that Adam's had to deal with his condition and stuff like that. So like it's like a feel good story that's waiting to happen if they can pull it off. And I don't know. I really wish I could come here and be like, boo, I hate some of these people, but I don't.
I mean, considering how they would react when they finish like 4th place or 6th place, a lot of emotion for safe. Like if they won the Amazing Race, they would tear concrete out of the ground with their bare hands and gnaw on them in ecstasy. They would shake Phil Kogan so hard,
he's running from them.
His bones would turn gelatinous from the 5 Gs that were enacted upon his body.
Well, we know that Phil is still with us. So the fact that he didn't die means that Joseph and Adam probably did not win the Amazing Race.
That's pretty. I did not realize the unintentional spoiler in Phil still having a consciousness, but
Phil still walks the earth.
Yeah. Because they would at least break a rib of his, like with a bear hug that they would give him. Like,
if Phil came home in traction, then maybe we know that something was up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, this is a great pair. I'm very happy to not see Adam in those sweatpants on my screen much more. It's just there's a lot of ass on that man. No disrespect. But aside from that, man, it's incredible to see them make it this far. And Jess is right. They might not win the race, but I mean, you can't find a person or a pair of people who have more fun running it.
I really have to give props to Amazing Race casting this season because, all right, no disrespect to the Big Brother fan community. There are a lot of jerks on Big Brother. There are a lot of deeply unlikable people on Big Brother. And we managed to get a cast of tremendously good personalities and good people and positive people that I've enjoyed watching and rooting for. And I did not think that was going to be the case when I heard about the premise of this season. So bravo, Amazing Race casting.
That was a question I was going to have for you, Jess. I know there was some skepticism from the Amazing Race community. And, Mike and I, we live in the Big Brother community. We live in the Survivor community like you do as well. But the Big Brother community, I stand by my problematic fave. It's an awful show at times, but there are some great moments. But the characters, you're right. A lot of times they're very problematic and they're hard to root for. But Jess, what have you been seeing a lot of feedback about the way my people showed up?
Here's the wild thing. I gotta give it to the Big Brother fans too, because they are being surprisingly normal.
Yeah. It's easy when you're not watching these people 24/7, Jess. We're in the trenches every summer.
Yeah, it's true. You got 90 minutes a week and then you're done.
Yeah. So let's look ahead to next week. So we still technically have 4 teams left in the race, but we will soon conclude our time in Paris before we fly to the Big Apple. Some of the players will literally do so because they are hosting a finale party. But it seems like the final 3 teams will be going there. We'll be taking a brief dip into Sesame Street. Looks like they're going to be rappelling down the Empire State Building, maybe? There's some rather intense stuff going on. Jess, was the last time you were in New York for a finale the infamous Beekman Boys finale?
No, we've been there. We've been here since then. 27 we were in New York because remember they were building the
Adirondack chairs. Yeah.
And I feel like they've been here since then. Without looking it up, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head because there have been a lot of seasons of Amazing Race. But yeah, I thought you were gonna say was the last time we were in New York for a finale. I'm like, no, dude, that was last season.
Yeah, I was going to say Berry Park, which is a very popular spot to host finale parties for The Amazing Race, and this time will be no different. I mean, Jess, you like to say a certain thing, some words of caution about the final legs of The Amazing Race. For the Chappells, for the uninitiated, please extol your virtues.
The worst 2 legs of any given Amazing Race are the first leg and the last leg. The last leg is almost always a letdown, even if the team you want to win is the team that ends up winning. It's just there's not enough going on, and it's usually a foregone conclusion by 20 minutes into the episode. You know who's going to win. So I'm about the vibes. I like to watch it with a big group of people. I like to cheer when cool things happen. I like to get that establishing shot of the finish line with all the eliminated teams lined up, Phil standing in the middle of them, and then you watch that gate to see who's going to come running up. That's the best part of it. And I think it's still going to be fun. It's always fun, no matter who ends up winning. There's always a lot of fun things happening, but yeah, I think it's not I wouldn't expect the most exciting, awesome thing that you've seen all season. Whatever that is, you've probably already seen it.
All right. I think we all need to call our shot here. Chappell, by 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, December 10th, give me the rankings of the final 4 teams. How will our top 3 finish, and who will be the unfortunate team left on the outside looking in?
In 4th place, sadly, we're going to lose Adam and Joseph here at this cliffhanger. I refuse to believe anything else. Sorry. I just can't allow myself to perceive that. I can't say the words that I need to say next, Michael.
You want to type it out on the Braille typewriter?
It was going to take me a long time. It's going to take me a very long time. I could see Izzy and Paige kind of being in 3rd place, but I would love to see maybe they get to it. And then I think it's a toss up at that point between Taylor and Kylan and Jag and Jazz. It would be ridiculous to bet against Jag and Jazz at this point. They have proven that they can beat things that other Amazing Racers have not been able to beat. The U-turn thing is still incredible to me. When Phil said it, oh, y'all beat the U-turn and y'all came in 1st place. It's never happened before. I was like, you can't stop these people. They're incredible. So I don't see a world where they don't win it. And so for me, I think you have Jag and Jazz in first, Kylan and Taylor in second, Izzy and Paige in third, and then sadly, we're not going to see much of Adam and Joseph next episode.
Jess, what are your predictions?
Well, it's hard to say exactly how everything shakes out, but I don't have high hopes for Pizzy. I love them so much. They are the team I'm rooting for this entire time. It's always fun to have a team that I feel personally invested in their success, but I think they go out in that fan favorite fourth place slot, which is something that happens often, Chappell. The best team goes out in fourth place. It's rough, but it happens a lot. And here's my cynical take on what's going to happen.
Ooh.
Okay.
Jag and Jazz pull ahead. We do not see them in the same frame with other racers for the entire episode. They come in first place, and 6 hours later, Taylor and Kylan rock up, and shortly after that, Adam and Joseph rock up.
Yeah, you say that they'll finish the leg in a New York minute?
Yes.
All right. I'm not going to stray too far. I want to get creative, but I also want to remain relatively realistic. I unfortunately do believe that Izzy and Paige will get eliminated here. Not to burst anyone's bubble. I want to keep hope. I want to keep hope alive. But I also think that with these to be continues, especially like there is never really a huge swap in placement. We saw this last time where it was like, oh, Jonathan and Anna might have broken a tile, but no, they finished ahead of Alyssa and Josiah, and that was it. So I'm not relying on any major shifts. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to have my expectations thrown about, but unfortunately, I think they will stay put. When it comes to the final leg, I will put Kylan and Taylor in third place. I think that maybe some of the pressure of the day might cause a little bit more conflict, maybe harkening back to some of the stuff around like the Michi, where maybe there was a little bit of, some brushing of personalities in terms of let's go, along with maybe rushing a bit too much into things. So I could see them make a couple of key mistakes early on in the leg and then maybe fall behind. We saw that happen a couple times in this season. I'll put Joseph and Adam in second, because they have been pretty good racers. They have been one of the more up and down teams over the course of the season, but they do string together really good performances. And look, there's a non-zero chance they try to draft off of Jess and Jag as much as they can. Even if Jess and Jag are like, hey, we're not working together, don't follow us, they can't stop them from following them. So I could see all four brothers in the top two teams, but yeah, let's go with the chalk pick here. Let's go with Jag and Jess. Because the other thing that's been interesting, Jess, is I feel like the past 3 seasons, we have seen a remarkable trend of these male teams that I would say sort of came in as the overdogs. Greg and John was a little up in the air because I do feel like that was a very evenly matched final 3. But Ricky and Cesar and Carson and Jack were certainly, I think, perceived as the front runners by a long shot going into the final leg. And they didn't have a bad day. They had pretty flawless days. I know that streak will come to an end eventually. I don't think it will come with Jess and Jag, who honestly may have a more flawless game than those winning teams.
I think I co-sign that 100%, Mike.
All right. Well, Chappell, before we bid adieu, any other things you want to talk about? Any other stray thoughts you might have about this episode, teams, the season in general?
Yeah. This season, it made me want to watch The Amazing Race, which is hard to do. I've never wanted to watch The Amazing Race before. That's why I've never done it. But I was invested from episode 1. I really thought like I was just gonna passively kind of like keep up with the show just to keep an eye on things, make sure it's not like they don't get too out of control. There are a few people that I wasn't rooting for, but no, like nope, they had my faves, made it very far. They kept me invested so much, and so now part of me is kind of like, do I need to go back and watch some Amazing Race? Now this is not to cue the Amazing Race stands out there, including you two. Because I've gotten I've gotten those tweets before where people are like, you got to go back to the early seasons. You got to get into it. You got to get into Family Style too. Like I don't need it.
No, you don't.
But like so a part of me is very curious to see what the Amazing Race looks like in other iterations that do not involve straight like just a whole slew of Big Brother players. So I don't know. If there is going to be an introduction to Big Brother players, maybe joining the Amazing Race fandom, I think this is how you do it.
All right, Chappell, thank you so much. It was always incredible to get to hear your takes on reality TV, let alone a show that you were kind of experiencing in whole for the first time. And so fantastic job as always. Of course, you are all over not only the internet, but the podcast sphere, talking about anything and everything under the sun. Where can people check out all the great stuff you're doing?
Check me out on my podcast, Recap Kickback. It's a recapkickback.com or youtube.com/@recapkickback. It's where I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about, including Interview with the Vampire with Mari. I think I got Bel Air coverage coming with Puya soon. Then Gia and I are still talking about Abbott Elementary as those episodes are dropping right now. Mari and I will be back in January to talk about the Night of the Seven Kingdoms or whatever that is, the House of the Dragon thing. It's a show Mari wants to talk about. I don't know. It's the House of the Dragons, Game of Thrones adjacent. We're going to talk about it in January, so there'll be that kind of coverage, and then Chantel and I are watching Flavor of Love because she's Canadian and they didn't have VH1 in Canada back then, and so she's never seen it. She had no clue there was the spit heard around the world. They didn't hear it in Canada, and so we've talked about that. We're on season 2 of Flavor of Love, and we're about to wrap it up, but we're doing it live on YouTube, youtube.com/@recapkickback every week. So stay tuned. That should be available on Friday when Chantel and I go live, and and then I'm gonna take a little mini vacation. I might go visit some of these places that we've seen this season. Who knows? But yeah, keep up with me. Perry, but sadly, unfortunately, but yeah, keep up with me on all social media platforms @RecapKickback. That's the best way to catch up with me and to keep up with what I have going on.
And Jeff's no exit interview this week, of course, with the To Be Continued. We'll have those in droves coming after the finale next week. But anything you'd like to plug or highlight from this episode or in general?
In general, I want to apologize for the quality of my pipes today. I am getting over a cold. I will be on vocal rest for the entire rest of the week and back up in fighting shape by next week to cover the finale.
You can do an impression of the pit stop greeter, the mime.
Yeah, I think
I will also say some I don't want to judge mimes too much, but a pretty weak ass miming too.
Weak ass mime.
Running and then climbing, and then he's like, ta-da. It felt like Adam and Joseph's can dance, where it was like, I just sort of gave up. I'm doing the motions at this point.
I feel like this is not the first time we've had a mime on Amazing Race, and it's also not the first time that Mike has disparaged the mime on the Amazing Race.
Stephen Fishback was once a mime, and I think you have to really get a professional Fishback miming to really see what it's supposed to be like. Mike, this is not it. It's not going to add up to what Mr. Fishback can do.
Yeah,
I have a very high bar. I have a high bar for mimes. Very high ceiling to my box, I should say, and it's tough to find my way out of it.
Yeah, Mike Bloom talking smack about mimes. It's like my favorite subgenre.
Mime Bloom.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I'm not really doing much of anything. Just hanging out. I recently saw Death by Lightning on Netflix, and I'm making it my entire personality. So yeah, come talk to me about that on social media because I have a lot of thoughts.
Well, Chappell hosts a Netflix show. Maybe you might have a belated segment for her.
Yeah. After we finish Nobody Wants This with me and Shannon on the Nothing But Netflix podcast, maybe we have to have Jess on. We'll see.
Anytime. You know where to find me.
I do.
All right. Well, we did not have an interview with the team from this season of The Amazing Race this week, but this weekend, I bring you a true delight because, listen, we have a season that is all about Big Brother players competing on The Amazing Race. How can I not talk with arguably one of the most iconic Big Brother players that has become one of the most iconic Amazing Race contestants? I got to sit down with reality TV royalty herself, Rachel Riley, to get her thoughts on this season. She has been watching along. She was watching since the beginning, which only aired a couple weeks out of with her getting out of the Big Brother house. We actually find out a little bit of her Amazing Race origin story, how and when she got offered to be on the race in the first place. And she's a big fan of the show. She was even before she raced 3 times. So she has a lot of thoughts about the season so far, the teams, a lot of the strategy behind this type of stuff, whether she wants to see this format again, whether she would play again. So make sure you keep an ear and an eye out for that. Should be coming up sometime this weekend, as well as all the other stuff I've got going on with Parade for Survivor, as well as all the stuff we've got going on here on Survivor, including if you're a patron of RHAP and you're not checking out Club Condo. I don't know what you're doing with your life, man. Chappell and Rob breaking down all the messiness and miscellanea that exists throughout Survivor social media. So be sure to check all that out. Of course, Rob will be back with us next week to break down the finale and truly put a bow, a Christmas bow perhaps, on the end of this season before we bid adieu to Amazing Race for a while. Will not be coming back until at least next fall. But Chappell, you did an incredibly admirable job filling in his shoes.
Thank you. Anytime Rob is not available, please call me. Because I would love to talk to y'all about anything, even if it's the Amazing Race. And especially if it's a Big Brother Amazing Race season, I'll be there every time.
Yeah, this has been a treat because these are two of my favorite guys to podcast with, and I got them both in one place.
There we go. Well, thank you all so much. Merci beaucoup, I should say, for listening and for listening all season long. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the results of next week's finale are going to be? Did this scramble land for you, or was it less so sunny side up? Let us know your thoughts, of course, in the comments on YouTube and on social media. And check out Chat BCC. We've only got one more week of it, and a lot of these players will admittedly be at a party next week, so they may not be live watching and posting about the episode, but they reveal tons of behind the scenes information that you want to know about. So thank you again. We'll be back next week after the finale to break down the ending of The Amazing Race 38. Until then, everybody, au revoir.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.